What's good, everybody? We are back, and I'm sure you guys have been wondering after the last week when Lucas Tracy dropped his GOAT list, when Bedtime MMA dropped his GOAT list, when Kenny Okoye dropped his GOAT list. Everyone was wondering, well, when is the MMA Outpost going to drop his GOAT list? So that's what we're going to be going over today, dude. I'm going to be giving you guys my top 20 best UFC fighters ever. The top 20 best ever, not the greatest ever, because that is a different thing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I do believe that is possible. And yeah, man, let's talk about it. So number 20, obviously, it's a spot that could go to multiple people, you know? I mean, I've seen a lot of people have Armin Sakarian at this spot. I've seen people have Aljamain Sterling at this spot. For me, this spot, it's going to go to Cain Velasquez, you know, and now I might be biased, you know, I'll pop the picture here up on screen. Cain Velasquez, I met this guy when I was like 5, and I do believe that Cain Velasquez is the second best heavyweight of all time. I mean, obviously, I have Stipe Miocic as the greatest heavyweight of all time, but just behind him in the number 2 spot, I have Cain Velasquez, because of what this man did for the sport. This man had some of the first high-level grappling ever. You know, we had the Royce Gracies in the 2000 era, but this man's wrestling, his wrestling, just plain wrestling, was some of the most dominant we've ever seen. This guy was the Khabib before Khabib, and truly just one of the best to ever do it. And for his time, dude, he was so overdeveloped, dude. He was so good for his time. And Cain Velasquez, dude, he's not one of these guys from the 2010s, from the 2005 era that are just marauders, that have no grappling, that have no striking defense, that will get taken down if you really try. No, Cain Velasquez could strike, Cain Velasquez could wrestle, and I do believe that if you put prime Cain Velasquez in today's heavyweight division, he is probably he could give Tom Aspinall a hard matchup. That's just my opinion, dude. Prime Cain would give Tom Aspinall a hard matchup. Cain Velasquez is one of the only guys that I can say that about. I can't say that about many other guys from the 2010 era, 2005 era, that would probably have a good matchup against their current champions division. That is a really crazy thing to say. Cain Velasquez was that guy back in the day, dude. If you're Mexican, you know Cain Velasquez. This guy picked up wins over Travis Brown, Junior Dos Santos twice, Bigfoot Antonio Silva, and Brock Lesnar, of course. That win aged well. And yeah, man, my number 20 spot belonged to the one and only legendary Cain Velasquez. So let's get a round of applause for Cain, boys. Let's get a nice round of applause. Everyone stand up on their seats. And yeah, man, Cain is number 20. Barely squeezing it in here. You know, I could have probably had him higher, but I didn't want to let my bias get too far ahead of me. And coming in at number 19, boys. Coming in at number 19. This is a very hard spot for me because I'm kind of contradicting myself. Also, I forgot to state what this list is based off of. Before anyone comes at me, this is my list. What my list is based off of for the best MMA fighters of all time. At number 1, I have their technical ability. Number 1, their technical ability should come first. How good they were. You know, I'm not going to count your technical ability if you're like Peter Yan. Lucas Tracy had Peter Yan at 9 all time. You got to have technical ability, but you can't also have no title defenses. You also have to have stuff behind it. So number 1, technical ability. Number 2, divisional dominance. You know, this is why you're going to see a lot of my guys towards the top. They dominated their division for years and years. They dominated their division. That's why I value that. Divisional dominance is the second ranking. And third, I have strength of schedule, dude. I mean, obviously, I value this, but not as much as I value technical ability and divisional dominance. Because you guys are going to see, when you guys see my GOAT, a lot of you guys aren't going to agree with it. Because, you know, his strength of schedule might not have been there. But we're not going to talk about that right now. I just wanted to preface what this list was based off for the best MMA fighters of all time. Number 19, Max Blessed Holloway, boys. Let's give it up! Max Holloway, dude. I am quite fond of Max Holloway. I'm actually just playing with Max Holloway in UFC 5. I like Max Holloway. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. And it sucks to see him get brutally chinned by Ilya. Hopefully the kid can pick up a win over Dustin Poirier. He can't go 0-3 in 2 trilogies, dude. If Max Holloway goes 0-3 in two trilogies, well then, yeah, see it from the top 10, buddy. I mean, see it from the top 20. You're not in the top 20 if Max Holloway loses his upcoming fight to an old Poirier. But Holloway, champion, 3 title defenses, pretty much 4, dude. He beat Aldo twice. He won the belt against Aldo. Then he had to beat Aldo again. Weird circumstances there. But Holloway, pretty much 4 title defenses. And I do believe that Max Holloway would have been the featherweight GOAT if it wasn't for Alexander Volkanovski, and who we'll talk about later. He's so good, dude. Holloway is one of the best boxers in UFC history. It's his losses, though. Those 3 losses to Volk, Volk's resume is made great by those 3 wins to Holloway, and when you're talking about Holloway, those 3 losses to Volk will forever hurt his legacy. And yeah, man, that's just my opinion. I do rate Holloway. I think this guy has some of the best boxing in UFC history, one of the most technical fighters in UFC history. Laser lock, takedown defense. Max Holloway, you're here, and yeah, listen, kid, you deserve this spot, kid. You're a legend, dude. Number 18, boys. Shadows Oliveira. Shadows Oliveira, Brazil. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think the last KO to Ilia Topuria really affected his legacy much. I mean, obviously, I think we can all agree that Charles Oliveira is someone who should be in our top 20, and I don't really think that KO loss against Ilia Topuria really affected it, dude. He's a great fighter. I understand that, dude, but he has a lot of losses. He has a lot of losses, and without those losses, dude, I mean, obviously, without a fighter without losses is the greatest of all time, duh, but Charles Oliveira just has losses to ridiculous people, dude. This guy has a loss to Jim Miller on his resume. The kid has a loss to Frankie Edgar. That's not too bad. The kid has a loss to Ilia Topuria. Not too bad. And you look at prime Charles Oliveira, once he went on that 11-fight winning streak, his losses after that aren't bad. You know, he's only lost to the top of the top, Arman Sakarian, Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev. He's not losing fights, and they're not bad for his legacy, you know? So, Charles Oliveira, the greatest MMA Jiu-Jitsu fighter of all time. There comes the technical ability. I hope you guys are seeing how I am valuing the technical ability of these fighters rather than their divisional dominance. Because Charles Oliveira, you know, he didn't dominate the lightweight division for years. You know, he had 2 title defenses. Oh, I think 1 technically. He should have had 2 if it wasn't for that Gagey one. But, you know, he did face some pretty good guys. You know, strength of schedule is there. Poirier, Gagey, Michael Chandler, all of those guys have never won titles. But you see what I'm saying, dude. He faced some of the best guys who never won titles. So the divisional dominance is there. Charles Oliveira, you're number 18. I truly believe that. My next 2 fighters, the next 2 guys, they might upset some people. Jose Aldo at number 17. I believe that Max Holloway is a better featherweight all time than Jose Aldo. So you're probably wondering, well, then why isn't Max Holloway above Jose Aldo? Because Jose Aldo kind of clip farmed against bums, and I understand, dude, they were bums, but they have to mean something, dude. I know a lot of people aren't even gonna be happy that I'm having him this low. Like, some people have Jose Aldo in their top 10, and a couple months ago I did too, but you gotta understand, the sport has evolved. The sport has truly changed, dude. This guy, post-USADA, Jose Aldo has barely won any fights, dude. Post-USADA, Jose Aldo has lost to Amin Zahabi, Mario Batista, Marlon Moraes. It's just not a good amount of losses. He's lost to Volk. He's lost to Holloway. And what a lot of people don't understand is just because people say he wasn't in his prime during those fights. This guy was like 30. In the first Holloway fight, he was like 29. What are you talking about? What are you saying, brother? What are you saying he's not in his prime? 29? 29, brother? You can't just discredit his whole career. You can't discredit anyone who beats him after that Conor McGregor loss. He was still good after that Conor McGregor loss. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. Jose Aldo, I don't really rate you. I mean, half of your title defenses in the WEC were decent. And then we go to the UFC, dude. He picked up wins over Mike Brown, Manvel Gumbarian, Mark Hominick. Yeah, you guys see where I'm going with this. His wins aren't the best, you know. He's picked up decent wins like Chad Mendes he beat, Frankie Edgar he beat, Jeremy Stevens, Moicano, Marlon Vera. You guys understand where I'm coming from, right? When one of your best wins in your career is Chito Vera. I mean, I don't know how high I can rate you all time, but, you know, he did kind of stack up all those title defenses, and those have to mean something, at least a little bit, so that's why you're here. And, yeah, similar to the next guy, I put these guys very similar to each other. Anderson Silva, very similar to Jose Aldo. You have those title defenses, but against who, man? Against who are you defending it against? You're defending it against Travis Lutter, Nate Mongart, Chris Leben, like the guys you're defending it against. Like, you're defending it against unranked fighters. Some of Anderson Silva's title defenses were against unranked fighters. People don't realize that, man, and I understand this guy's crazy winning streak. Yeah, but when Chael freaking Sonnen is Chael Sonnen is probably his best win. That's crazy. Chael Sonnen is Anderson Silva's best win. And I understand, dude. This guy, he won on a crazy losing streak after. You have to understand, he lost to Jared Cannonier, he lost to Uriah Hall, he lost to Izzy, he lost to Bisping, he lost to Cormier, he lost to Nick Diaz, he lost to Chris Weidman twice. Yeah, man, I that's just how I feel, dude. Jose Aldo and Anderson Silva, they're in very similar positions on the GOAT list because they have the title defenses. They have the stat farming, the clip farming, dude. But against who? That's my opinion. And the next guy, now we're getting into the modern era. You know, I think most of these guys are going to be from the modern era because the old era outdated, dude. The sport's evolved. But now Henry Cejudo's number 15. Henry Cejudo, I like this guy. Not really. I actually hate Henry Cejudo. He's one of my least favorite fighters. But Henry Cejudo, you know, I can't discredit what he's done. A lot of people discredit what he's done because of how annoying he is. I mean, imagine being so annoying that people discredit your legacy. That is crazy, bro. That is absolutely crazy. But Henry Cejudo, the only man in the UFC to beat Demetrius Johnson. That is a crazy statistic. I understand it was a split decision. I understand a lot of people had Demetrius Johnson winning that fight. He is still the only person in UFC history to beat Demetrius Johnson. That's a crazy statistic, and you also got to look at what he's done before that. Sergio Pettis, decent win. Sergio Pettis is not that good of a win. He's picked up wins over a lot of guys though, and you look at what he's done during his title run. Beat TJ Dillashaw, beat Marlon Moraes, beat Dominic Cruz. This guy was on a crazy tear back in the day, dude. He was chinning everybody. Dude. And, you know, I understand his last couple losses have hurt him. They haven't really hurt him, though. You know, where I ranked Henry Cejudo back in 2020 would probably be the same to where I rank him today. Song Yadong, Merab, Aljamain Sterling, they're not bad losses, really. And they're post-retirement, dude. He's pretty much retirement. He shouldn't be fighting. The kid only came back for the money. And, yeah, man, that's why he's here. I don't really rate those losses that bad. Henry Cejudo, dude, you're a double champ. People forget, man. Probably the worst double champ in UFC history, but people forget, man. He's a double champ. Did it in 2 divisions. Gotta respect him at least a little bit, even if he is the most annoying. Listen, dude, I hate his voice, man. But we'll move on to the next person. Right after Henry Cejudo, Pantoja, and I specifically made sure these guys were right next to each other, and I put Pantoja slightly ahead of Henry Cejudo. And I haven't really thought about it. Pantoja is one of the best fighters of all time. He's number 14 for me. That is crazy. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that this guy a couple years ago would be this dominant. 5 title wins. 5 title wins, bro. Pantoja is that guy. He's literally doing what Demetrius Johnson did, but in a more modern era than he did it. You know, you gotta understand that. If I value Demetrius Johnson as high as I do, I also have to value Pantoja as high as I do. Because I believe Pantoja is doing it against guys who are maybe a little bit higher in skill, but obviously he doesn't have the length of it, the divisional dominance, but he is dominating his division. He didn't do it as long as Demetrius Johnson did it, but he's still dominating his division. And with a couple more wins on this guy's resume, this guy goes out there, beats Joshua Van in 1 round. This guy goes out there and beats another contender in 1 round. Then we have to start considering Pantoja in the top 10. I'm tired of disrespecting Pantoja, dude. But this guy beat Kai Kara-France twice, pretty much. He beat Kaira Sakura, beat Steve Erceg, beat Brandon Royval twice, beat Brandon Moreno 3 times. People, just like a lot of people talk about Volk, how those 3 wins to Max Holloway are severely make his resume better. That's how I feel about Pantoja, dude. Brandon Moreno is top 5 flyweight fighter of all time, and Pantoja has 3 wins over him. That's a crazy statistic, man, that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people don't. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Brandon Moreno, 3 wins to Brandon Moreno. That is a crazy statistic. Pantoja, keep your head up, king, dude. Pantoja's also picked up wins over guys like Alex Perez, Manel Kopp, which is a win that's aged beautifully. He's picked up wins over guys like Matt Schnell. He's picked up wins over a bunch of guys in his UFC career. His only couple of losses are to Askar Askarov, which is kind of a fluke, dude. I thought Pantoja won that fight. Deiveson Figueiredo, dude. Figgy's a top 5 flyweight of all time, and that was before we seen Pantoja fully evolve. You know, Pantoja, I understand Pantoja was technically in his prime there, but he's evolved since then, dude. That was kind of tadpole Pantoja. But Pantoja in his prime, dude, I'm picking him to beat Figgy. I'm picking him to beat literally any other flyweight of all time except Demetrius Johnson. Pantoja is that guy. Pantoja is the number 14th ranked fighter of all time. Best fighter of all time. Number 13, dude. Number 13, we got Israel Adesanya. Come to daddy. A lot of people forget about Adesanya. Adesanya, hands on. This guy is one of the best strikers of all time. One of the best strikers of all time. You can't deny that. His striking is some of the best. His technical ability is there. And I understand his resume. It's kind of getting overshadowed now, dude. His best win is probably Alex Pereira. Jared Cannonier's decent win. Robert Whitaker's a great win. Marvin Vittori's a pretty bad win. Paulo Costa not aged beautifully. Yoel Romero for his time, it was good. Robert Whitaker again. Kelvin Gastelum, decent win. Anderson Silva, good, decent win. And he has a bunch of decent wins on his resume if you look back at it. You know, I feel that. I understand where you're coming from when you say that. But he also dominated the middleweight division. He also dominated the middleweight division for a while. For a while, this guy dominated the division. And I understand this guy has a loss to Imavov on his resume. He has a loss to Dricus on his resume. He even has a loss to Sean Strickland on his resume. And I respect Izzy, dude. And maybe some of this is just recency bias. But Izzy, I think it's more of his technical ability carrying Izzy. And rather than his strength of schedule, rather than his divisional dominance, Izzy's technical ability, dude. People don't talk about how good Izzy's striking was in his prime. One of the quickest fighters ever. Izzy, keep your head up, King. 13th all-time, and I think he deserves to be here. Coming in at number 12, dude, Izzy, familiar foe, Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira is here. He's thriving, dude. I used to have this guy in my top 10. Obviously, he's kind of fallen off due to that Magomed and Kalaev loss, but he's still here, dude. Pereira was done it in 2 divisions. He done it in 2 divisions. Izzy could not do it in 2 divisions. He had a loss to Jan Blachowicz. People forget, man. People forget. Alex Pereira beat guys like Khalil Roundtree, Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill, Yuri Prohaska again, Jan Blachowicz, great win. Izzy, great win. Sean Strickland, great win. All of Alex Pereira's wins are good. They're not horrible. You know, the Khalil Roundtree win, who knows how that'll age. And the Jamal Hill win probably won't age very well. But you got to understand, this guy did it in multiple divisions in such short time. You know, the guy was 37. He is 37 when he was like 35 when he joined the UFC. And what he had done in that time, if Pereira's career ended today, dude, I wouldn't hate having him. Like, top 10 for Pereira all time. That's not ridiculous to say. And, yeah, man, I have so much respect for Pereira. That's why he is here at number 12. I think he's above Izzy due to him doing it in 2 divisions. Izzy did it in 1. And, yeah, man. Number 11, Stipe Miocic. This guy, I don't talk about Stipe a lot on my channel, dude. I feel like a lot of people kind of forget about Stipe, what he's done. I had Cain Velasquez here earlier, obviously. I was like, Cain Velasquez, second best heavyweight of all time, just behind Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic obviously has to be on this list. Stipe Miocic, he's good, dude. He has 2 wins over Daniel Cormier. And you can argue Daniel Cormier was a fat blob going into that fight, but he still has 2 wins. He still has 2 wins over him. And at the end of the day, on paper, when kids look back at those wins in 20 years, we're going to see Stipe Miocic. He had 2 wins over DC. Then he also beat Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, who is someone who I view top 30 maybe of all time. Francis Ngannou's up there, dude. And that is a great win to have on your resume. Especially just dominating Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou had no answers for Stipe that first fight. Obviously, he also has a loss to Ngannou. And don't even get me started on that John Jones loss. I'm not even considering. Like that does not even come into my mind when I think about Stipe Miocic's career. That's an exhibition match to me. And I hope John Jones knows this, dude. I want him to be watching this video. Obviously, I know he's not. That's stupid. But I hope John Jones knows that literally no one cares about that Stipe Miocic win. That Stipe Miocic win does nothing for his resume. Nobody cares. Nobody even talks about that win. That win will never discredit Stipe. I'll never discredit Stipe for that win, and I'll never give credit to John Jones for that win. Like, at the end of the day, that's just a fact, dude. Stipe, though, I'm taking a lot of time on you, man. Stipe, he has wins over Francis Ngannou, Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, Fabricio Verdum, Andre Arlovski in his prime, Mark Hunt in his prime, and Fabio Maldonado, as, what's the dude's name, as Rampage Jackson says. So Stipe Miocic, he's picked up a great resume, dude. A heavyweight champion with multiple title defenses. Give the guy his flowers. I love Stipe Miocic. Did you guys like my impression of Stipe? Yeah, that's a pretty good impression of Stipe, bro. Number 10 of all time. Now we're breaking into the top 10, boys. Now we're breaking into the top 10. Oh, gosh. This is going to be a long video to edit, man. Number 10. Sorry I had to do something. Sorry about that little technical difficulty. But number 10, Kamaru Usman. I love Kamaru Usman, dude. I've talked about this guy many times on my channel. I believe that Kamaru Usman is the top 10 greatest fighter of all time. I think what he did for the UFC welterweight division should not be forgotten. It should not be not talked about. I love him. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. I started watching the UFC when this guy was around in his legendary reign. Dominated Tyron Woodley. People don't talk about that win to Tyron Woodley. Dominated Tyron Woodley 50-45. Dim. Colby Covington twice. Jorge Masvidal twice. And I know on paper those don't sound too good, but Jorge Masvidal, this guy was kind of in the second wind of his career when he did it. And Colby Covington, dude, I know that win doesn't sound too good on paper, but it was back then, dude. I believe Colby Covington, he's one of those guys who it may not be a great win for him, but I don't know what I'm saying here, but I believe Kamaru Usman, dude, this guy, he's so good, and I think that win to Joaquin Buckley has only helped his resume even more. And yeah, Kamaru Usman, you're here, you're thriving, buddy. Let's get in number 9. Number 9, this guy. Look how fat he is, bro. If I were to tell my kids that this guy is the 9th best fighter of all time, then they think I'm crazy, dude. This kid could kill a majority of the population in his prime. DC. We love DC around here, bro. If you don't like DC, get out of here. What's the question? You don't like DC? Leave the room. Leave the room now. DC, you know, without John Jones, this guy has a valid argument to be top fan of all time. That's crazy, dude. Without John Jones, DC would probably be top 5 of all time. John Jones ruined this guy's career with the steroids, bro. John Jones totally ruined this guy because of steroids. It makes me mad. Really does. But DC, dude, this guy has picked up great wins. He has a win over Stipe. Whether we count that or not, he has wins over half of the light heavyweight division, dude. This guy controlled the division. Double champ, obviously. And he's an actual double champ. He's not a fake double champ like John Jones. Yeah, DC, you're here, buddy. I love DC. Who doesn't love DC? I think DC is underrated. I didn't have DC in my top 10 previously. But DC, dude, again, we're going back to technical ability. Some of the best wrestling we've ever seen. Him along with Cain Velasquez, some of the best wrestlers we've ever seen. Obviously, they train out of, like, Javier Mendez is their coach. They're here, dude. Their wrestling's elite. DC might have been the guy to bring wrestling to MMA, dude. I mean, obviously, we had Cain Velasquez, who did it a little bit before him. But DC and Cain were the first guys to really show high-level wrestling in MMA. That's why they're here, bro. That's why they're here. Number 8. Habib. Play the music, boy. Cue the Russian music. Khabib, dude, this picture's so tough. This picture's so tough. I took time to go and find a bunch of photos for you guys. You know, I made them grainy. I gave them aura. And, yeah, man, I didn't just place random PNGs of them on the screen. But Khabib, yeah, man, Khabib, I think I've come to terms with it, bro. A couple months ago, if you would have asked me, is Khabib in my top 10? No. Khabib in your top 15? No. Now Khabib's number 8. I have came to terms with it. Khabib is good. I can't deny his greatness anymore. Wins over Justin Gaethje. Wins over Dustin Poirier. Wins over RDA. Prime RDA, by the way. Wins over Conor McGregor. Wins over Michael Johnson. Good wins. And, you know, it's different if he was barely getting past these guys. But he's not struggling with these guys. That's the thing. That's what makes me mad when I look back at Khabib's career. If this guy's dad hadn't passed away, with all due respect, he could have been one of the greatest of all time. He is one of the greatest of all time if he's top 8 all time. But he could have been number 1, bro. He didn't struggle with McGregor. He didn't struggle with Poirier. He didn't struggle with Gaethje. If this guy was going in there and having wars with them, they'd be different. But he's not even struggling with them. This guy did. I mean, obviously, we're going back to technical ability. Maybe he didn't dominate his division for 10 years. Maybe he didn't. What's it called? Maybe he didn't have like the strength of schedule, like no actual champions on his resume, other than RDA. But still, dude, he dominated all those guys. Didn't even struggle. Technical ability. Khabib, one of the greatest wrestlers in MMA history. Probably on paper, Khabib's the greatest, most dominant grappler in MMA history. That's a fact. Yo, not probably. Khabib is the greatest MMA wrestler ever. Boom. Fact. Point proven. Thank you for being here, Khabib. Thank you for coming out. Let's get a round of applause for Khabib. Number 7. A lot of people might hate me for having Merab over Khabib. Merab I have high because of this guy's actual crazy resume. This guy's crazy resume, bro. Sean O'Malley twice. Okay. Great wins. Sean O'Malley, I think Sean O'Malley, that win's going to age beautifully. Sean O'Malley is going to go on to do great things in his career. That's going to be a really good win. Okay. Who else we got in there? We got Jose Aldo on top 20 of all time. Henry Cejudo on top 20 of all time. Umar Nurmagomedov. You know, that win's going to age beautifully too, dude. He's picked up wins over John Dodson. He's picked up wins over so many guys. Merab has dominated. Merab has the divisional dominance, if you think about it, dude, because of what this guy done to the old guard. This guy, he's so good. His cardio is the best ever, and I guess you could consider his technical ability being cardio, dude. Merab has the greatest cardio that we've ever seen in MMA history. You know, Volk's a close second. Merab's cardio is unmatched. We have never seen cardio like this. I don't even think Merab's wrestling is that good, but his cardio is what allows him. Literally, I don't understand. We're just going to go on a Merab cardio rant. This guy's looking the same he does in the first round, then the 5th round. This guy's shooting these in the 5th round, bro. That's crazy. We've never seen anything like this before. I rate Merab. I think Merab is that guy. And, yeah, man. Yeah, that's why he's here. Number 6. Who's number 6? I forgot. This guy. Okay, GSP, man. I think he's kind of fallen off since the last time. The last time I had him on my rankings, he was a little bit higher. Anyways, GSP. One of the only guys of the old generation that I actually like rate. Like GSP, he's number 6. I had Jose and Aldo and Anderson Silva at number like 16 and 17. 16 and 17, I had these guys. This guy's broken into my top 10. GSP's number 6. GSP is good. You know, I don't like the idea of having GSP number 1. I really am not fond of that idea. But this guy has decent wins. He has good wins, dude. He's picked up great wins over his career. And it's more about his technical ability. His technical ability, man. I told you guys how high I value technical ability. What GSP did for MMA, he revolutionized it. He revolutionized it. He might be the first fighter really to be the most complete, if that makes sense. The first fully complete fighter in UFC history. You know, we have guys who are really well-rounded, but before GSP, no one really had it all, dude. No one really had it all. And I think GSP, what he did for the sport is just revolutionary, dude. You also got to understand that this guy came back like 3 years later, 10 years ago now, but this guy came back 2015, which is, I believe, where the modern era starts. GSP beat Bisping to become double champ. He has a win over in the modern era, and that's a championship win. Respect GSP. I love GSP. GSP is one of the greatest of all time. I do believe that loss to Matt Sierra does hurt him a lot. That's a really bad loss. I'm sorry. But, yeah. Number 5, we have Ilia Topuria. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get 8 for this. I'm going to get 8 for this. No, I don't believe so. I don't know where Lucas Tracy, I think he had him in his top 5. I think we can have him in our top 5 now. It's probably recency bias. I don't know, man. This is probably recency bias. But Ilia Topuria is that guy. You can't pretend he's not that guy anymore. You can't pretend he's not that guy, right? Right? You can't sit here and try to tell me, oh, bro, Ilia Topuria. What's the excuse this time, bro? No, Chin Charles. No adversity. Chin Holloway. No adversity. Chin Volk. No adversity. Chin Josh Emmett. Not really. 50-42 Josh Emmett. Great win. 50-42 Josh Emmett. Great win. Yusuf Law, win that's aging. Bryce Mitchell, win that's aging. This guy has the potential to be the greatest of all time. 17-0. He doesn't have any losses. You know, he doesn't have any losses before his UFC career. And if this guy goes up to welterweight, I'm saying it like it's a hot take. This isn't a hot take. If this guy goes up to welterweight and he beats Islam, he's the greatest fighter of all time. There's no debate. There's no debate. If this guy goes up to 170 and becomes a triple champ, beats Islam, there's no debate. He's the greatest of all time. We can call it quits. He can retire there, and for the rest of eternity, we'll have Ilia Topuria as the greatest of all time. That's a fact. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Number 4, Volk. You know, before starting this video, I looked at the list one more time, and I said, is there any last-minute changes that will save me from getting canceled? And this is one of them. I put Volk above Ilia. I had Ilia above Volk for a quick second, but I had to change it. Want to know why? Because Ilia Topuria, get one more title defense, and you're probably back above Volk. I understand Ilia Topuria beat Volk. I understand that's a little bit of an older Volk. I understand you can argue Volk's chin was weak. I don't believe that Volk's chin was that weak. But there's a lot of things. Volk just dominated in his division a little bit longer. Volk's done it in 2 divisions. He pretty much has a win over Islam. And, yeah, man, Volk went life or death with Islam. He's done it in 2 divisions, picked up wins over guys like Max Holloway. Those are such good wins, by the way. Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo, such good wins. And, yeah, Volk, you're here, buddy. I love Volk. Who doesn't love Volk? Number 4 of all time. Number 3 is fraud. I mean, I hate this guy, right? We all hate this guy. We all hate Jon Jones, bro. He's a bum. I don't really like Jon Jones, bro. I really hate Jon Jones. I think last video, I had him 2. In my first GOAT list on this channel, I had him 1. So he's slowly falling off, man. He's slowly decreasing. Jon Jones, bro, I just wish... It makes me mad, dude, because I know what this guy had. But when you look back, when he was 23 years of age, if I were to completely rewrite Jon Jones' career, no steroids, no drama, no PEDs, no saying stupid stuff, no getting arrested, Jon Jones would have easily been the GOAT. And it makes me mad, dude, because he's done so much to become unlikable. It makes me so mad. Because he could have undisputably been the GOAT. He did this to himself. Jon Jones, dude, I understand, dude. I respect everything you've done for MMA. But I also can't forget. I can't forget the steroids. I can't forget you clearly ducking Tom Aspinall. I can't forget everything outside of MMA. I can't forget you literally being a horrible person. I can't forget you going 5 rounds with Thiago Santos with 1 leg. I can't forget Dominic Reyes beating you. There's a lot of things that I can't forget, Jon Jones, and this is one of them. Jon Jones, I understand most title defenses in UFC history. Double champ, kinda. Fake double champ. He's done so much for the sport. I feel like I don't even need to elaborate on what John Jones has done. Yeah, John Jones, you're one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt. But you're not the greatest of all time, because the second greatest fighter of all time, Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev is here, and I believe so. I do believe so. Wins over Volk twice. Wins over Charles Oliveira. Wins over Dustin Poirier. Wins over Renato Moicano. Wins over Dan Hooker. Wins over King Green. Am I forgetting anybody? I don't think so. This guy, if this guy goes up and becomes double champ, he will be the GOAT. And then if he loses to Ilya will be the GOAT. It's very confusing, but Ilya and Islam are the only guys who have the chance right now in MMA to become the GOAT. I'll say that. Maybe Merab. Maybe we can sneak Merab in there. I don't see Merab ever becoming a GOAT just to that loss to Frankie Saenz and much other things. Islam, dude, you're so good. One of the greatest fighters of all time. Technical ability is there. His striking is top 2 in the UFC, and he's not one. Ilya's one. And yeah, dude, he's the second best striker in the UFC. Hands on, probably the best grappler in the UFC right now. Ilia Topuria is the best striker in the UFC by far. Like, I rate Islam striking. Islam is the second best striker in the UFC, but Ilia Topuria's striking is 10 times better than his. That's how far ahead the curb Ilia's striking is. It might just be his knockout power, but still, Ilia's grappling is top 10 in the UFC, I'll say. Maybe even top 5. Maybe we can sneak top 5 in there, and that's why I would love to see Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. That's why Islam is here. I think I had Islam at 4 last time. So Islam, the loss to Moicano, the win to Moicano, sorry. He didn't lose to Moicano. If this guy lost to Moicano, we wouldn't be seeing this guy in our top 10. But yeah, that's why you're here. Yeah. Islam, I rate Islam, dude. And if this guy goes to welterweight, he is number 1. But number 1, as of 2025, what is the date? July 10th? This guy is the GOAT. Listen, I couldn't find any cold pictures from the UFC, so we had to use a picture from one. He is the technical ability. This guy, if I were to tell my friend who is the best MMA fighter of all time, if my friend asked me technical in every aspect of the game, he is the definition of an MMA fighter. Mighty Mouse is the definition of an MMA fighter. When you look at everything, you look at the kicks, you look at the punches, you look at the jabs, you look at the Muay Thai, you look at the grappling, you look at the clinch work, you look at everything. Mighty Mouse has it all. Mighty Mouse truly has it all. Demetrius Johnson has it all. There is not one element in his game that he lacks that. And I understand, dude. He was doing it against bums. Joseph Benavidez, Henry Cejudo, Tim Elliott. They're not the total bums that Jose Aldo was facing. They're not the total bums that Anderson Silva was facing. And another reason I believe this, that the reason I have Demetrius Johnson so high compared to Jose Aldo and Anderson Silva, because you look at Anderson Silva's division, middleweight. We look at middleweight, Izzy has clearly dominated that division. Dricus has dominated that division. Khamzat will probably dominate that division. Anderson Silva is not the only one to dominate middleweight. You look at Jose Aldo's division, featherweight. Featherweight, Conor McGregor dominated the division in some way. You look at Volk, dominated the division in some way or another. Max Holloway dominated the division in some way or another. Ilia Topuria dominated the division in some way or another. They have all had guys who have dominated their division. For flyweight, Pantoja is the only guy who's dominated flyweight along with Demetrius Johnson. And what Pantoja's done it in the last year. Pantoja's work hasn't been across, like, decades, dude. Demetrius Johnson did it for a decade. There's no better way to put it, dude. This guy is so good. I love Demetrius Johnson. It might be biased, dude, but he is the perfect definition of an MMA fighter. It makes no sense how... I think Lucas Tracy had Peter Yan above DJ. Like, based on what? I don't understand. Like, if you're saying if you value technical ability, okay, Peter Yan's up there, but Demetrius Johnson is better. And if you value title reign, well, then Peter Yan's never had a title defense. Like, oh, it makes my head hurt thinking about that. Yeah, boys, that's my list. That is my 20 fighter list. This is the longest video I've ever made. My mouth hurts from talking too much. My throat hurts from talking too much. But make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'll see you guys in the next one. MMA Outpost out.